me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Let's go. I'm about to go off like a weapon. Fuel to the top, got a filled up engine. In my thoughts, obsession. I will not stop, no, I'm never second guessing. I got a God complex.
Hello folks, this is Moore, USAGSA. I'm doing another story here on this animal abuse, satanic ritual abuse, and animal abuse by community-oriented policing, which is one of the same. But before I jump into it, and the descriptions, videos, or link tree, that'll give you the various links to some of the platforms we're on, especially my Substack, where I've written extensively about these programs, the tactics, and what those tactics are designed to do, and the people behind these deals. And folks, a great deal of living as a targeted individual for most of my life. I'm giving you not something that I've gathered from one of these shield groups that Facebook is full of them. I'm giving you the cold hard facts, all based on facts, none of it based on a hunch. And in some areas, a lot of areas, when I'm speaking of a person being targeted in the realm of what is called gang stalking, I'm an expert in some of those areas. Not in everything, but I do have knowledge, an extensive amount of knowledge about this. And I think it's important that I share this, but I think that maybe some things aren't adequately enough laid out for the targeted individual to understand what's going on, because most of them are trying to figure out what the deal is. We really shouldn't be focused on what the deal is, as opposed to what are you going to do and how to defend against it, protect yourself, run proper investigations, etc. But in the description of the video, that's my Substack I was talking about, and I also have a 3-part series that I believe it's gone to members only, but you can still see the first one or the second one, within Complicity. But it's an extensive how-to book and the tools that you need to be able to ascertain and document your tormentors, these criminals. And of course, we're also not only extending this educational program, if you will, for those that are targeted, but moreover, if we're using this to expose abject corruption in this country. If you want to stand with USAGSA, we're 100% supportive of our listeners, viewers, and followers. So in that link tree in the description is our Patreon link, and you can become a patron on Patreon, and that's one way you can stand with us. There's ways you can donate in there, and of course be a paid subscriber or even a channel member right here. And these, as a channel member, you get unlimited access to our members only content, and there's a lot of it. Now, this, and I'm going to put the picture up of this pit bull, mostly gray pit, female dog. Now, she's never been to a veterinarian. She's had her shots, you can go and buy. She's had that, but she's never been to a veterinarian. any procedures or anything. I was aware, and I've been aware forever, that that these people, these community-oriented policing networks, and that's the deal, folks. There's not 50 different stories or narratives on the truth. And the truth of the matter is that your chief law enforcement officer and your county and city, they're the ones running the program. It's generally headed off the principals in each county, fire captain, police chief, and sheriff. And that's the deal. Now, they use all elements of society working together in this holistic approach to policing, meaning everybody does their part, including businesses. And folks, it's mind-boggling. So when I call these businesses out for stalking, they're just as culpable for these abominable crimes that we're talking about, where people, and the program is designed to force people into suicide. That's a fact. Your sheriff, your chief, your fire captain, that program that they oversee, and this program is designed for that. It's not just it's a byproduct of trying to work around. No. Once they target an American citizen, and there's 4 to 8 million a year targeted, they are targeted for destruction. Nothing more, nothing less. Now, that's fact. And so, for someone to come back and retort and say, well, it's a good thing, though, isn't it? What? And destroying people's lives, denying them their God-given right, constitutional right, and all these things? You mean that there's something good about that? That, of course, it isn't. However, that first responder that you're in love with, that's the deal they're down with. And folks, that is the unmitigated truth. So, this female dog, it brought to my attention, and it was a perfect deal in the first place. That's what I ascertained, and I'm gonna run with that because I know I'm right. Is the handler wanted to get the perp to draw my attention to that, to get me off on some tirade and change my narrative and whatever else. They because this operation of community-oriented policing, its platform it's all a big psyop. It's all misinformation, perceived chaos, intended chaos. It's designed for the most brilliant person in the world. Will never be able to connect all the dots and put it together and make it work. They'll never be able to make it work, and for a while. And if and when that time comes, and you drag the fusion centers into it, and there's already a precedent case there. I'm telling you, it's most of it will never be public eyes or ears, and it goes away. Nothing happens. There's a lot of people, folks, involved in this. This is how bad it is, because the amount of people that have blood on their hands. And what are they going to do? Well, I don't know what you're going to do. But as for me and my house, we're going to serve the Lord. And I'm going to tell it like it is. I'm not going to pull any punches. Now, if you've got somebody telling you that this program is anything different than what I'm telling you, they're liars. Okay? And so the perp or whoever shows me, said, the dog has got stitches. I said, well, why has the dog got stitches? Well, I mean, she's got stitches on her stomach. I said, sure, the dog got, yeah. Let me go out there and look. And stitches, you see them. And so we got some strong batteries. I said, go around that wound there and see if and we could see a little tugging of the skin. So there's something in there that's metallic. the animal had several changes over the course of the last year that I witnessed, from friendly and everything, and then one day her front leg was broke half in two, clean break. No visible signs of anything of getting hit or anything like that. It really didn't make sense. I ascertained immediately when I saw that this was purposely done. But why, I didn't know. And then I noticed the dog barking at the tree line when that was there, and then the homeowners looking at the cameras and all that. And then, of course, it was confirmed later on. That's something I was thinking. From another person that said, well, it's probably in drones. Like I said, yeah, there's more to it than that. And so Chief Lorraine Valente and Alternative Homesteading has a cat rescue and a big spread up in Kentucky. And I had her on, and if you hadn't seen it, you might want to see it. And she talks and goes on and on how these already policing target the animals and do all this ritualistic stuff. Now, some people will contend, well, while they're doing it's theater. Well, and that's usually a perp saying that. And, well, there's a lot of theater. But I can tell you that when you really kill somebody, you can call it whatever you want to, but I'm telling you what it is. And so, when you're really blaspheming, like somebody's born again and they're targeting this person, that should tell you something. We know that person, that whole organization, everybody, all the way down to the janitor that cleans up the Kool-Aid after they have these celebration parties after someone they target has taken their life. They celebrate this as veterans target other veterans. 22 a day commit suicide. There's no godly people in there. I don't care what church some of them go to, what they're saying out of their mouth, their actions speak louder than their words. And so I'm seeing this, the sutures. I sent Lorraine a picture, and she immediately said those knots, 3 knots, the way they're tied, that's something that is used in witchcraft. And so, what is the difference between witchcraft and Satanism? There's any difference, okay? Just different names. All right. People ask me, what's the difference between a snitch and a rat? I said, spelling. Okay? And that's the difference, folks. And there's a lot, you wouldn't, I mean, there's millions of Americans that are practicing Satanists, claiming that they're born again, going to the first church of the frozen chosen. And folks, that's where you get the fake churches. And you got all this confusing things that are going on in this country today, and because we're just overwhelmed with fake churches. Lost men in the pulpits that are going straight to hell and leading people straight to hell. The dog got with a morning period after her companion, a young male dog was about like her, and no signs of trauma or anything like that. And so whatever they did to the dog, killed it, and kept it long enough for decomposition to take place, then brought the dog back and drug it back into the woods, into the tree line behind the home, and the dog came up missing from in front of the home. So, according to Lorraine and what I personally know, this is a big problem. And folks, let me tell you, you can tell. My mother always said that, and she said it not long ago. You can always tell the character of a person by the way they treat their animals. And nothing can be further from the truth. If you see somebody that's mistreating an animal, whether it's physical or just neglect or any of these things, that speaks volumes about that individual. Okay? If the situation with the animal is screwed up, you can bet your bottom dollar that the situation is just as screwed up with that person that's doing that or the neglect. What about those that are down with doing this because it works, torturing and abusing animals, and to use these sacrificial right, blood right, and all these different things, they pose these corpses and all this stuff up for the victim. There's a big psychological boom to what they're doing, and they can't say, well, it's just a job. No, it's going to be something that, my friend, that they'll be held accountable for. They're being held accountable for it. So I was going to give you in my notes, and I'm still working on an article about this, and folks, it's like peeling an onion. But they'll give you some things to kind of process here. We talk about satanic ritual abuse, SRA, community-oriented policing, COPS program. That, my friend, is a married situation, okay? And they're not the only ones in this harem of deplorables, okay? There's all kinds of businesses and all that. And this, I'm going to get to that because my next, I'm real soon. I'm going to address some things that I normally don't talk about, but I can address it now officially, and hopefully it's going to help some people because they've got a lot of things going on with themselves, around their home and outside their home, and they can't quite put their finger on how this is being done. I know exactly how it's being done. I'm going to tell you exactly how it's being done, where you can not only defend against it, but you can prosecute it. You can go forward with your life by exposing them of their lives and lies. But official reports and documents of the COINTELPRO program, which was banned, but it's still in operation. The old whore with a new dress from 1956 and 1971. One of the official documents and reports in there that the FBI's COINTELPRO files show that agents harassed civil rights activists by harming their pets. So, this by harming their pets, and they do it to children too. This I talked another day, and that's where CPS comes into play. And I hadn't talked enough about that, and that is a proverbial elephant in the room. Okay. And a couple of examples of this, folks, is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And his associates reported pet poisonings, shot dogs, and missing pets during COINTELPRO's height. And I footnote that Loretta Scott King went to a state court. They had a trial and everything. And Lee Harvey, I visited, I've been confused, but anyway, the guy they said killed Martin Dr. King, it was found a shadow of doubt he was not the one, and it was a group of members of community policing that assassinated Dr. King. Okay, community policing has been around a long time. Different names, but the same deal's been around, and this is something that was spearheaded by the biggest closet queer in the world, J. Edgar Hoover. So that's the Black Panthers and the American Indian movement, AIM leaders also reported their dogs were poisoned or killed to intimidate them. And the source for that was the U.S. Senate Church Committee reports in 1975, and of course, on Telpro, the FBI's Secret War on Political Freedom by Nelson Blackstone. Also, this same information that I've just told you about torturing, killing animals. This is a military psychological operations manual, declassified in the 1990s. Also, that is practiced, not was. And the PSYOPs field manuals specifically list targeting personal property and animals as psychological warfare method to destabilize morale. And that is got full well and fully cognizant of how they have tried to destroy the very soul of that person's targeting. There's been many times when I just absolutely did not make it through the day, much less live through the day. God corrected that. And the devil is a liar. But that is their objective, folks. And a person that's working at any facet of community-oriented policing has to own what I just said. These deplorables are absolutely evil. They can't line out and veto what they agree with, what they don't agree with. You're in it or you're not in it. It's that simple. I've got a lot of stuff. Of course, there's been tons of lawsuits involving animal abuse as part of stalking and targeted harassment. For instance, Mindy Mechanics versus University, 1990s, stalking by pet threats. Dr. Mindy Mechanic, a clinical psychologist who became an expert on stalking, documented that stalkers commonly harm or kill pets as a form of proxy targeting. These are your rat snitches. They're color coordinating, doing all this theater. They're also, when they're not doing that, and when they're not doing all that stupid shit at our expense, they're involved in killing and harming defenseless creatures. And again, it does not stop at animals. Now, I will be real clear with that. Okay? Now, you catch these people say, don't you want to protect the children? Blah, blah, blah. They don't give a shit about the children. I've said it before and we'll say it again. Tell me anybody that's involved in this, if they care about a life of an animal or a human being, they do not. Because where does that come from? It comes from Satan. That's where it comes from. That's who they've sold their soul to. And, you know, and the reason we know they're morons is they've sold out and they're serving somebody that hates them. Satan hates every damn one of them. He hates me, hates you, and he especially hates all of them. And his objective is to destroy all those people that love him, that call him everything but what he is, God, and all this kind of stuff. It's a God of another name and all this baloney. It's evil. So several lawsuits. They allege their stalkers killed or mutilated their pets, silence them, terrorize them, and make them appear paranoid. Everything they do that's designed in this program, folks, once you repeat it, and it's so much that if you dare just give somebody the lowdown of a week what happened, you start sounding crazy. And that's why they do it, to get you to destroy yourself with your actions and your words. Because they are going to push back and always deny what's not going on, and they're going to gaslight you. And because they know that it's so much that they're going to gaslight you, and because then your loved ones that are not in on it are going to appear that they're in on it, and some of them are. They think they're doing something to help you. You know, they'll tell whatever lie that they tell immediate family that that is aware of this targeting. They try to put a pretty dress on it to make it look like something it's not. But then when something goes on with a child, and it does, covered some of those, folks, it's a mess. It's a mess because the community-oriented places will show up and force in mass for that mother or dad that just lost the daughter, or if the daughter's missing or whatever. And it's easy to spot these deals. They are the ones that'll get all kinds of media attention, and there'll be big social drive on justice for this individual, whatever. And then people see this, and you ever wonder, say, well, yeah, that's I get that, but what about this kid over here, this guy, or this black kid, or whatever, on and on and on. It didn't mention it in the newspaper. Oh, it's the news, and all this other stuff. Why is that? That's part of the deal, folks. That's part of the pomp and circumstance of you're part of the club, and look how much better it is, as opposed to those that are not. Now, but the sickening thing about it is usually, in most cases, these individuals were unalived by elements within the community policing. One of these rats, and they're not going to expose these rats because it's a rat snitch network that keeps the deal going. They're not going to do that. So that's not an option. But they'll get Dayline at 60 minutes to come in and talk, and they'll make all that happen. But I'm telling you, it's nothing but pomp and circumstance. You'll never get the truth because they don't know this. Their master is a liar and the father of them. Okay? Their actions. And what this program does, lay out everything they do. And you go back, what they're doing is absolutely everything an objection to God and true godly people. No element of this program will line up with God's word, other than what He says about those that don't line up with it. Of course, it targeted individuals and testimonies on harassment. I've heard them. Pasco County, Florida. We know about the lawsuit there, and then the article written in the Tampa Bay Times. And part of it targeting these families, these children, were targeting the pets. Okay, I was targeted not long ago. They knew I had a young dog in the vehicle with me, and it was a nightmare. They pulled over. I did this, did that. Had me in cuffs. They towed my car. I don't know how many times that criminals with badges have done that. People that ain't got a clue. And when somebody, supposedly from the outside looking in, or we hear somebody start condemning the messenger and ignore the message, then you know they're involved. That's real easy to ascertain. They're ignoring the part about wrongful convictions that made up and just completely created invented crime, because they know that they can put that on you and make you go all the way to the bank every time. It's happening all across in mass, folks. This is not just one here and one there. That's not the deal. Ted Gunderson, a former FBI chief, from his public statements, of course, Gunderson spoke repeatedly before his death about targeted individuals having their pets poisoned, surgically altered, or killed. This is the first animal that I was aware or physically seeing this surgical offering, and this is they torment their targets by doing all these demonic things to the animals, and it's very demonic. That is a part, not all, of the drones that everybody's seeing. They're targeting. You see them out there. What are they doing? Well, it's a psyop, so there's a lot of things in that drone narrative that they're doing that they are getting done. And it should be all in plain sight, which it is if you understand the proper context of what psychologically, knowing that you're under unlawful and unwarranted surveillance 24/7, which is illegal. That in itself will destroy the target over time, because they lose not only faith in themselves but in mankind, and they don't even know how to even communicate with God. They question everything. That it drives them away from anything good. This program destroys, it attacks their targets by anything that's good. That's where they start. Okay, they don't go in and run in in a dope house and zip tie the people in there and sack the dope up and leave. Oh, no. They'll torment their children and animals.
About targeted individuals having their pets.
It's trying to read it to me. I didn't know Microsoft Word could read, but it can. Folks, that's what they do. And then come to find out, those people, whatever, making dope or selling dope, that was just a story. It was something totally unrelated. It doesn't matter what they were or were not doing. The fact is, an American citizen has equal rights. All have equal rights, or do we? And these people that swore to uphold the Constitution, well, they're thinking in their mind only for those, but they don't say that we deem worthy of affording constitutional protections. That is high treason, folks. Derek Robinson, a former NSA employee and targeted individual advocate. Robinson collected hundreds of affidavits showing dogs and cats of targets were systematically killed. Pet deaths occurred right after drone or street harassment events, street theater events. It always is. There always is. Cops in there, they'd be showing their ass, they'll have a cop post up and run. And these people are demonic. And they get their feelings when I call them everything but a child of God. When I dare one of them to man up and step up if they won't do it, they're cowards. They're heathens. They have made their lot in life, and they will bust hell wide open. Those are the facts. And I will continue doing what I'm doing as long as God sees fit, and there ain't nothing they can do to stop that. I know they think they can stop God, but they don't know. Of course, they don't know God. They don't word, maybe how to spell it, but I promise you, they do not serve God. And that is, it's always, when you see all these cars doing that, and then they have something happen, they want to psychologically rape you daily, day in, day out. As if that were enough, you'll jump on Facebook, get in some rabbit hole on some other BS that may or may not line up with what's going on with you. That's all part of a shield operation to further destroy the targeted individual. It doesn't work if everybody's not doing their part. So those that are not doing their part, like me, and I will never participate in anything like that, I become enemy number one, and I can't tell you how many times I've been arrested. The truth, in the last 5 years, I cannot tell you how many times. Okay? He's a criminal. Okay, that's your tale. That's their tale of how they've done this and done that, knowing that it's a damn lie. But you see, to them, a lie does not mean the same thing it would to most of us. Okay, that is their Bible. It's all based on a lie. Cops have no problem. That's why no problem with lying or doing whatever the hell they want to do in order to get what they want. And the judges and the courts back that up. So that's what we're having to continue. I don't know if y'all hear that storm, but I've got somebody to pause this because it set something out there ringing. So bear with me 1 second. These also have drones repeatedly targeted this woman's animals that sued them, and veterinarians refused to remove the suspicious objects surgically discovered because they're told by the home office what they can and can't do, what they can and what to say, what not to say. When some slug walks into a store that you frequent, look, this person here, the target is bad, and don't, you don't need to be being friendly. Don't say thank you, kiss my ass, or nothing. And there's plenty of pathetic morons fall for that, and they that's what they do. And it does affect it destroys the self. Anything about mentally, physically, spiritually of targeted individual, because it's coming from so many different angles. That's what they're doing. Spreading lies, hate, blacklisting, spiritual, all of these things are what these deplorable people are doing. And so, folks, let me tell you, my opinion of them is the lowest form of life on this planet. And then multiply that times 1,000, and that will give you that individual that is participating in this program. I don't care what they think, what they're doing. Nothing. That's zero sympathy for the devil, okay? And I don't have sympathy for the devil. Never have, never will. But they hate godly people. They don't have a problem if a person's godly, but by God, they better keep it themselves and better not call them on their bullshit. I'm going to do it. We'll keep doing it. And there was another situation in Phoenix, Arizona. The same thing going on. It's going on everywhere, folks. Everywhere. The fusion center was sued in 2010. And this is just very little is known about that particular lawsuit. It was Jane Doe. Jane Doe. This is doesn't look the case up. If you've got Pacer, if you pull that up, and I had pulled it up. I am on Pacer. Jane Doe versus the Fusion Center's officials, California in 2010. This little known, heavily sealed. And the Fusion Centers are private entities, folks. So why in the hell is it heavily sealed? Because when Department of Homeland Security put these Fusion Centers in there, said, which how many donations, private deal, I mean, for them, can't ask them a question, and we're going to protect them. A private company from talking, and let them do what they're doing. The case was dismissed quietly, and the local media reported briefly about it. Implants in animals. It could not be explained by veterinarians. Of course, they can be explained, but they better not explain it. At least they become targeted as well, and that means that they don't have a backbone and they're not stand up for another human being's rights. They won't stand. So therefore, they won't stand up for America. How would you like to have that mentality in a fighting force anywhere? that actually hate the country. Oh, they like their house, and the little things that they accomplish, they have collected through the years. But this country and what it stands for, what it was built on, and the rule of law and our judicial process, they hate that. So they hate this country. They hate God and the country. Okay, it's that simple. That's why they don't have a problem putting their hand on the Bible. They don't believe any of that shit. They know they got to dance to get what they want to get, and that's the only reason they're doing it. We just assumed that was one of those that you know that most of them are good at few bad apples. And tell yourself that just a few bad apples here and there. Okay, now they maybe I don't know maybe it's a few good apples. But it's more than it's. We've got a sewage lagoon, okay, with millions and millions in it that hate God and country with badges and this cop program, National Sheriff's Sheriff's Association, National Police Chiefs Association, and Fire Captains Association, respectively. They all together to violate other American citizens' rights by whatever means necessary. And 99% of what they do is a felony, multiple felonies. So, you know, they've got a lot riding on this deal never getting a proper challenge, okay? So, that's why they continue doing what they're doing. It's not because our neighborhood or something safe or anything like that. We all know that's the damn lie. Crime keep going up. They hadn't stopped it. They hadn't stopped drugs. They hadn't stopped rape. They hadn't stopped. They don't try to stop incest. That's actually a birthright in Mississippi. But it's it hasn't changed anything except fusion centers. Keep building more fusion centers. They got 70 something now. I think they may be 76, 77, and there's about that same number of FBI infiltrators, who are civilians working with the FBI to on this see something, say something. In other words, see it, tell it deal. The snitch, okay? We don't need that many rats, do we? Of course, it's a snitch culture, and the way we get our way is we work together and we just absolutely keep them away from due process. You gotta have attorneys and the judges. You gotta have all these people in play to make this happen. And I'll be covering these attorneys. I'm covering an attorney this weekend in Tupelo, Mississippi. That's a chancery judge, an attorney, and they deal with a property, but a lot of child issues. With, of course, they're siding with the Child Protective Services as they go against the families. And in most cases, they shouldn't even be in the courtroom with these children because it's all somebody said something, and that's why that happens. Okay, it came out of the mouth of the liar. Now, this we're working on getting this deal. The bottom line on this implant on this dog. Not only is it cruel, it's a crime to do things for somebody else's property. They are considered property, and but these people they believe that they're above the law because the police and those figures are the ones that are greenlighting criminal behavior. Same ones that will tell you that they don't. So they're, of course, they're liars. If you want to see if he a liar or not, ask him about this, and then you're going to get a liar pretty quick, and you make it up your mind for yourself. It's still the sheriff. The program is still going on, ladies and gentlemen. Therefore, he is going to dodge you, and if you do ask a question, he's going to lie. It's not quite like that. They think that it's part of the deal, makes them think this, makes them think that, and blah, 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 blah. It's a lie, he knows it's a lie. And so who do you call? Let me tell you what, I guess you call Domino's. You better call the police when you have an emergency. And that's just really not the wise thing to do. All right. I mean, like this 21-year-old in Columbus, Mississippi, having a seizure. They sent a SWAT team out there beating him within an inch of his life for having a damn seizure. That's a fact. No drugs ever. Wasn't in, ever. Drinking, none of that. Not mentally, not at 5150, none of those things. They just, they already know two speeds, okay? And it's fast. And they go to eat a damn donut shop, and extremely slow if someone has a real problem and calls them for help. It takes like watching paint dry, getting them to come out there to help somebody. Now, if you say, look, I need you to go down there and arrest so and so and so, where'd he go? They just ran through the wall, screaming lights, and they ran over an 85-year-old woman and killed her going to an emergency in Columbus, Mississippi. Sarah Jackson just going to the dollar store and on a 2-lane highway there in Steens, Mississippi, with a turn and got broadsided by a woman deputy that was going to an emergency call. And folks, let me tell you, that was damn lie. She had no business on that 2-lane highway. After church, the church let out, going 85 to 100 miles an hour, sirens blasting and all that. It's common practice from coast to coast, folks. The domestic disturbance call that is common practice. They do not run sirens or anything or lights going to those calls. That is to keep it. You got several reasons for that, but that's the standard still thought, and that's the way it's practiced. So what was that call? It was a teenage boy had been fighting with his girlfriend. He got in the front yard and was kicking his own car and using profanity. And two deputies were called to this emergency situation. Some redneck raising hell and kicking a car in his own yard. And that was their excuse for saying that it wasn't their fault that they killed the 85-year-old Sarah Jackson going to this bullshit. They never took back to sort of work, so they just quit talking about it. And he's going to ask about it. I'm going to want to talk about it, okay? And Sarah's grandson, I'll hear from him about every 5 or 6 months. That was my grandma, and I miss her and so forth. So it's really, really sad. Now, I'm going to wrap it up, folks, with something that this is disturbing, that once they target your neighbor down the street, and your neighbor said somebody's been at my house, I feel like it records me, and this is going on. I want you to know something, ladies and gentlemen. Everything I just said is everything that they are actually doing. Okay? If we tell you who's doing it and what part they're playing and what they're doing. So you can rest on that. You're going to get the facts about that. Now, there's a couple of things I want to say about this. Proverbs 12:10, God said, a righteous man regardeth the life of his beast, but the tender mercies of the wicked are cruel. Deuteronomy 18:10, there shall not be found among you any one that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire. This is ritual, paganism, Satanism, all the same. Or that uses divination or observes of times, the horoscope, or an enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consultant with familiar spirits, or a wizard of the necromancer. For all that do these things are an abomination to God. Now, let me tell you, folks, we're supposed to believe that these people in community-oriented places care about anything, that they really care. Those are just words, folks, because wicked people do not have the required mechanism to love and show kindness and compassion, because that spirit is not in them. And the devil hates them, and he hates you. So all those things, and when they acting like, they can fake it, they can use the word, but you believe it, that they're hating it every step of the way. And everything that they see that they don't like is usually something that God has called good. Okay? Wouldn't be an individual, their animals, their property, anything. And no one has sanctioned your targeting, whoever you are that's watching this. But let me tell you, folks, it's not been sanctioned officially on paper. They don't go out here and destroy it, but that's what they do. And so they feel that that's their loophole. Well, we're not really, but good luck with ever getting in the courtroom with it. Okay? And I've quoted this before, and I think this sums it up. And so whoever it is, if these people, I'm speaking of North Mississippi, I've been all over and documenting this, Florida, California, Northern California, Southern California, and all up in there. I've done it, folks. And I'm going to tell you, and I'm speaking to these people that are participating, whatever are those that have tipped their hat to it. Well, I'm not doing it, but I think they're doing a good thing. Whatever, I'm not going to get involved. By not getting involved and speaking up and taking your country and your civil liberties serious, as guilty as they are. You can't, as Dr. Martin Luther King said, that have remained silent and will not speak up, have they have become part of what is wrong. They are the problem. Okay? Woe unto thee, to them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness. Let me tell you, folks, that's exactly what the cops program is doing. They are doing their best to, no matter what they call it, we use social persuasion and all that, and encourage them to change their behavior. It encourages them to kill themselves. That's what Satan wants. It's death, destruction. Okay? And that is what we're speaking out against. We're speaking out against these people that are mob deep from coast to coast. That, ladies and gentlemen, they are the enemies. Not this guy that went down here. The guy went down and with an axe and killed a whole family. Sure, he is a criminal, evil, and all those things. And we've got a system that is designed to take care of that. And, we have settled the fact that we got that. Sometimes the system fails us. Sometimes the system is denied and turned against us. And if it's okay for 4 to 8 million Americans to be destroyed, and their family members either stripped away or killed or whatever, folks, where do we draw the line? Where do we draw the line? Now, I want you, for those that pray, to be praying about this. And if you're targeted, if you're not targeted, this is an affront, folks, from the devil himself. When I see this dog, this female dog, I've got a clear picture of the evil. And these people that know I'm reporting on this, what they're doing, these animals, when I get in that area, they'll be mob deep. That tells you who they're serving. And I weighed up in them, folks, because they do not intimidate me one iota. Okay? Don't matter how many of them are, they don't intimidate me one iota. I promise. If they said it's on, you best believe I'd jump out of that car before I put it in park and been weighed up there in them. I sure will. Because I believe, and I will guarantee you, I am prepared to fight and die for my country, for what I believe, and to protect its freedoms. We don't have to worry about going overseas or somewhere to protect it. It's right here in America. Americans that want to destroy America in such a way that Russia, China, or North Korea, none of them are Adolf Hitler, no one can ever fathom to imagine. Because they have their own agendas in there. And here in America, they've got Satan's agenda. And I'm telling you, and they are going after God's chosen, God's elect. Now, just a little teaser, folks, for just coming up in a few days. When I mentioned all the things that you targeted individuals can talk about, everything, voyeurism, drums, and all these things. I'm going to break it down and tell you who is doing it and how they're doing it. Now, I'm going to show you some folks that I promise you, no one else talk about gang stalking unless some obscure person mentioned it, and I'm pretty well familiar with what's going on globally, especially with these people that are advocating for justice and so forth, like myself. But I'm going to tell you what I'm going to bring you. It's like a lot of this stuff I bring you is how it's getting pulled off. And I'm going to tell you, folks, it will make you sick. But I tell you how complicit, not just complicit, but culpable telephone company and the utility company and the cable company, respectively. Folks, it's not just complicity. It is. Folks, I've got that in spades. And I'm going to lay it out. I'm going to show you how, I'm going to show you how they do it, what they use, and what to look for, and how they're mimicking and attempting to mimic the other things that you're hearing about, all this other stuff that you get in these rabbit hole groups. Okay? And you're not going to have to buy anything unless you want to. So, folks, you want to stay tuned and share this content. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Share. I welcome your comments down here below. Until next time, God bless you.
Ain't no motherfucker in this world could do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself, in my psyche. You should have the same in your brain nightly. If you wanna taste, bitch, you can fucking try me. If you wanna hate, bitch, you know where to find me. And if you're going hate this, you can fucking bite me. I'll be cruising in my lane fast, call it high speed. I've been working hard, yeah, I've been working nightly. If you think you'll win, ha, not fucking likely.